Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to BeoTalk number 305.
There we go.
Oh yeah, we need to do some shillings and stuff.
Yeah, the use.
Uh, go and buy yourself something cool at Skinny Play or at Team U, as I saw that you bought. You can buy your stand for your A1, not at Skinny Play, but to make an A1 look like an A9. But
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. July 18th it's coming, so hopefully that's what 2 weeks from now. Yeah,
yeah.
I should have it on a 307 podcast, I
Go
guess.
use the link for Skinny Play, get 10% off. Come join the Discord for shenanigans. If you dislike the red side, go to the purple side. Someday we'll end up at Rumble as well or something. We'll see. Too much to do. What else?
I don't know. That's it, I guess.
Oh yeah, if you want to give us free money for some reason, as a company, sponsor us, send us products.
We'll review them.
Yeah, and I mean that's always welcome. I'm finally at the point where I'm nearly gonna be having the time for normal reviews and that sort of thing again,
Oh, nice.
because the house is almost done. Just did the whatchamacallit, the laundry room.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's actually full on functional with like an extra fridge and freezer. Like to be full on American, you need more than one fridge and freezer, obviously.
Mm.
And especially around here, nobody drinks tap water, so you need a shit ton of water in the fridge. So that's a thing. So the last thing to do really is all the little bits of like painting, trim, and a bathroom. But I'm not going to do the bathroom myself because I'm too goddamn lazy for it, and I've done enough at this point.
So what, are you gonna hire somebody to do it for the rest of the last
Y-
bit?
Yeah, it's not a big bathroom, but also since it's wet, right? Like a wet room, like I'd rather have some warranty on that.
Mm.
Like I know I can do it. I've done bathrooms before, tiling and all that stuff, but I just don't feel like it anymore. Like there's enough other little things to do.
Well, you've been at it for what now? At least a year, I guess, or
No,
since you
about a
moved.
year.
So
I mean, the real big works didn't start until we were here, like what, 3 months of living here or
mhm.
something like that. So, I mean, I moved a kitchen, built a new kitchen, made my own countertops, redid bedrooms, redid closets, redid this room. Like everything was gray for some reason. Like every wall in the house was gray.
I don't know. Gray's too. I don't know, too much. White, I don't mind. I would have the whole house painted white,
Oh yeah,
anyways.
we had popcorn ceilings everywhere.
Oh, you got rid of that. I know.
Yeah, but it's like days of like standing with like an
Oh, I
orbital
know.
sander, like it's like oh man, it's like it
It's
hurts your
fun.
shoulders. So there's that. Did all the wiring and shit for the B&O gear. I'm kind of done for a bit now.
What are you putting in the bathroom? You had M3 once it's
Probably.
finished.
I mean, currently one is in the guest bed, and nobody's really there. So it's kind of
It just eats power.
yeah, it just sits there sitting right. Like,
Ready to play.
I mean, I guess if I really didn't care, I could put like the moment in the bathroom. See how long it takes for like some moisture to get under the screen.
I don't know. I think it would hold up pretty well. Depends on how steamy your showers are. Because I thought about that too. I have a Essence remote stuck on a tile in the shower, like directly in
Mm-hmm.
the shower. The water's not spraying on it, but the fog definitely gets it. So, you
Well,
know,
that's another thing, right? Here, it's very hard to have a steamy shower because everything is humid.
Mm. Oh, also, I don't remember how many podcasts ago I tried those batteries, right?
Yeah.
So I periodically checked the remotes, and they were like at the silver one, which is a daily user, was at 57%,
Yeah.
and the other ones were at 63. They all died same day.
Hmm.
All died same day. Fucking no more of that X-Star nonsense. And I can't, like, batteries, or I don't know if the charger's faulty or something. It's, one of those Amazon things. It was a good experiment. But my personal recommendation: buy yourself a kick-ass Duracell batteries or Energizer Platinums, and these will last you and will not leak. If you buy cheap shit batteries and they leak inside the remote, especially in the Beo Remote 1, oh boy, I finally was able to get that battery pack out, and it's still so corroded inside that I can't fit the new one in. Well, I
Hmm.
could, but it's only one-way ticket again. And once you press it against the corrosion, it's just a question of time before it hits the other battery now, right?
Maybe you should get a lathe with the same bit and just go.
I thought about it actually to see if I can. I'm gonna do it probably today because I have my toolbox with me, and yeah, see if I can at least get that crud out of there with the because it
Oh, do
doesn't
you
have
have
to
one
be
of
on
those
a.
bristly brushes that you get with a coffee machine? Maybe you can put that on.
I do, but I have it in a bloody storage locker, so that's too bad. But I am doing it, and I'm also, I guess, things changed here in the apartment, like the building management, whatever, again. So I'm thinking actually of moving somewhere closer to the shop and buy, like, rent out at least like a 2-bedroom apartment. That way I can cancel the storage and bring the 90s and maybe plug them in. But it would have to be fucking main floor because the Montreal stairs, bro. There is no way I can sweet talk my buddies into helping me bring the 90s into the goddamn upstairs, dude. No way.
Yeah,
And
you
they
need a
wouldn't even
service
fit.
elevator for that.
Yeah, they wouldn't even fit into the bloody doorways, the boxes, or by themselves, and there's nowhere to grab them, right? Like, other than you screw in those bull horns and carry them up. But then it feels bad for the guy that is on the top of the stairs, right, in the leading position, because you're fucked. And yeah, it's not fun, man. Those speakers are so not fun to move, man. I never foreseen the headache that they would induce when you have to move them about.
Yeah, that's kind of why I refrained from buying them because I knew it was going to move overseas. Like, and I could have
Because
swung for like people doing it, but then you're not sure. Like, are they going to be okay, or is it?
you fucking get them on your side when
Yeah,
you open the container. Oh god. But no, it's 50s. Obviously, you just need a dolly and like a good one, and you're set. You don't really need to worry about much. It's a little harder to get them off the cart or off the crate, the
hmm,
box, once you have them. But I still haven't found. I keep forgetting to get them. I need to buy 2 metal posts about I don't know, 50 centimeters long each,
hmm.
because there's 2 holes on the 50s that you can push them through, and you can lift them from the crate without like right, because fuck, where do you grab this thing? It's just as awkward as 90s. And
I've done it several times. You have the top handle inserts, right?
yeah, I know, I've done
Put
it
one
too, but
hand
it's
in
still
there,
not
one
fun.
in the cabinet, and this is a one-person job at that
Oh
point.
fuck, yeah, that's
And
not
then you
for my
go.
back. Yeah, but
Well,
you also
technically,
you're.
the second person is there to like kick all the shit away that it comes out of.
Yeah, but you got a fucking arm span of a fucking American Eagle. I don't have that going on, so like, what the fuck am I gonna do? I can't even hug that around.
I mean,
No.
it's only 61 kilos. It's not fun. You'll feel it the day after.
Well, it's for sure you will, but that's a lot of dead weight, man. Because it's not, like, it's different when you, like, lift your girlfriend or whatever, right? Because they climb on you, or they try to, like, they work with you, right? This thing doesn't fucking work with you at all. It actually goes against you because it tries to get for some reason. There's this little knob on the bottom of the box, the
Hmm.
styrofoam knob, that it's a centering knob. I understand why it's there, but son of a bitch, does that ever, like, try to stick with the styrofoam box when you're trying to get it off? Oh man. But yeah, 90s are a different headache. So I am very much debating, because then if I rent out something within a reason, I can just move all my storage because everything is packed. I would probably open the 90s. Fuck. If I wouldn't take them off the box, I would just roll them in. I would just roll them in on the pallets and leave them there. What's going on in the chat?
Flora says, Willie, finally I'm able to join the BeoTalk live. A couple of podcasts ago, you showed different profiles for Dolby and 5.1. Say keep Dolby Atmos, but set Biosound Theater to direct mode. 5.1 should be 5.1, right?
Yes.
Should be. Unless
Yes,
there's
and it
Atmos
does
data
work.
in there.
Yeah, but you can see that again if once it changes for everybody again, it's still under settings and signal information. That's where I always check before I put in. Now that I see it, or if it says Dolby Atmos via soundbar, sometimes shows up on your display top hand right side, right? So then okay, well, I'll just go to Sofa Atmos and I'll put it in direct mode, and it sounds great. It sounds better than I was able to tune it with all this true image nonsense.
Matt says, with a Theater 28, 8, and a 19 sub, do you need the 50s? Same price. Need is very subjective, right? That is probably overkill for most people.
As KVR says, Armoto, everything is overkill. You need them. Everybody needs
well, the first thing is, can you afford them? Because if you have to like bend over backwards to afford them, I personally wouldn't, because you have a killer setup.
Yeah.
It also very much depends on what you care to do. Like, do you want to watch films mostly, or do you want to watch or listen to music mostly?
Yeah, my habits changed completely with the theater, not having the 90s, because I was musically oriented. Now it's more movie and YouTube and streaming oriented. So watching that, if I were you spending money on the 50s, I would probably go, like, depends on how your room is also, but I would stick another pair of 8s on the ceiling, put the other pair on the ceiling, and then put another set of 28s as readers, and then just have 2 pairs of 28s and 2 pairs of 8s. And with the driven with the theater, I don't think, and a 19, fuck me, I don't think you can go any better than that. I don't think you can go any better than that.
50s, sure.
Well, yeah, but like for the same amount of money, right? That if you would have to have 50s, you can buy the 2 pairs of a second pair of 8s and the 28s, easy. So I don't know. To me, it makes sense. But then again, once you hear the 50s, they get in your head pretty deep. And I don't know. For me, it would be more or less worth it to do a set of 50s at the front with the theater and put in a pair of 8s at the back.
Yeah.
That would probably be the most rational way.
I mean, or expand it with 8s. If you have some more money to spare, just go with more 8s. Because the 8s are really quite good.
Yeah.
So do you need 50s? No. But need is so subjective, right? Like, nobody needs 90s, but you may want them.
I agree.
So it's not a question of need. And this is, again, like on Discord the other day, we're having slightly an argument of what is middle class, right? Like, it's a definitional problem quite often.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you define need and do you need 50s? Because if you go by the classic example of what need is, then no. But then again, you don't need a theater either. You can live with a stage, right?
Fair enough. But yeah, no, the theater is the way to start now.
I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, I'm assuming that your room is a fairly average size, right? Like if If you live in some fucking gallery that's like 10 by 17 or something, then maybe you need 50s. But it also
Yeah,
then is like, if you don't listen to much over 70 dB, do you need them?
right.
I mean, so it's not a simple question as like yes or no answer. It's sort of like, what do you want to do, and how much money do you have?
Yeah, but if you can sport for the 50s, I would probably go with the 50s only, and then later on, when the budget recovers, go for something in the rear. But 50s, because obviously they're going to be gaining on value pretty soon, anyways. A, B, uh, it's a really, really good speaker. It's a really, really good speaker.
Yes, absolutely. That's why I have two sets of them.
So,
I mean, what I also personally particularly enjoy about 50s has nothing to do with the sound. It's that they're dumb enough to be smart enough that they'll just work. Like,
yes.
there's no nonsense of like, we need to phone home to work properly. We have touchpads and that sort of nonsense on it. It works on the local network. You don't need Wi-Fi or external anything.
Yeah.
Also, if you're updated to the latest software, it's kind of like they don't need to be connected to anything.
No, if you're driving it through the TV, I don't think there's even a sense to deal with the app. But if you are running extra sources, like Sandeep is running his Rune player into them, then it's a different story, right? But
Yeah,
at
but that
that
can be
point,
local, right? Like that
that
doesn't.
all can be local, and you don't even have to be on the app anyways, because you can just put a link eye into those speakers, and you can control the sources selection from your B&O remote,
Yeah.
and you can be completely app independent, because that thing is just getting better and better every week we speak. I do not understand, but this is like I don't know what's going on with B&O and the whole department. Is it because they're all on holidays now and there's only few people working and it's just getting out of
Oh, I
hand?
forgot about
Or
that. Yeah, they always take a month off in like August or something.
yeah, so I just don't know what's going on. But I am I'm beginning to worry about the app,
Uh,
but we'll see. Mine still works, and quite honestly, I spent a lot of time on it daily. Uh, I installed a set of BLAP 28s on the wall for the first time.
okay.
I don't understand, like, as per their prescription, right? I did exactly what they did. I put a power link because they're actually ran off of a BeoConnect core as well, because there's a
Mm-hmm.
77-inch LG panel in the on the setup.
The
So
old
our
core or new core?
new core, because it's going ARC to the new core, and then power link out with the splitter right to each speaker. And then I ran a Cat7, the product cable, because you can run the thick one. I ran 3 product cables into the main speaker and 2 into the secondary. So power link, network, and a network link between the left and right. So they're both hardwired, right? So go and buy the B&O logic. You have them on the Wi-Fi network. You pair them together, right? And then you plug in the shit. So they're on a network. They're hardwired, whatever. Trying to put the backbone cover is not possible without having a little bit of a hump. It's too much. They did not design for having 3 wires plus there are two cables that are going off of the subwoofer and a power cord. It's too much.
Yeah, it barely fits. The power
Oh,
cable's
like,
already kind of tight.
but yeah, put another 3 Cat7 cables into it. It's a lot of laughs to close that bloody thing on the wall. So
Especially, I guess, on the wall, that bend is kind of 90 degrees. It's gonna be hard to stuff it full of cables.
at least that the wishbone, right, that is this way now, it gives you, or backbone, I guess they call it, there is enough that you can depress that you don't really like, kink the Cat 7 cable, and there's enough, but it's not enough on the channel up the back spine of the speaker. That's where it's pushing out. The channel's too narrow. And it's really hard. You can't really reef-on it and fucking hold it, right? Because the speaker's on the wall, and it's, even though it's on the plywood backing and so on and so forth, you can't really, you will pry it off. Trying hard enough. But yeah, it was a little interesting. Also, 22.5 inches is the exact distance from the hole to the top of the connector for each cable that you're running into the speaker, because then they perfectly fit in there. And we found out the hard way, because we put the cables it was like 5 inches too much, right? Or it was 4 inches too much. It's 20
in the 28, there's very little room for like extra
no forgiveness cable. No forgiving. And I'm thinking like, okay, thank God this guy didn't have like the 9000C system or whatever, but I guess no, I would still have to run extra USB-C cable up that spine for the converter thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not. They're very tight, very, 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 very tight. And you can run the thin power link cable, because you'd lose the communication for the data for the narrow wide, right? Via power link. So
I have a feeling that the whole idea is that we stuff it full with potential sources in the hope that you use maybe one, maybe two. But we don't expect you to use all. It's sort of like the back of the theater, right? Like, I don't think they've ever expected anybody to use all of the connections. Because it's just
well, there is a video that has like the proper cable management that shows how to, like, noodle spaghetti together.
Yeah, but you're at the point where you have to like braid your cables together to get them to stick together, right? Because like,
yeah, it's very procedural. Let's just call it.
Yeah, and that's like you're spending what, an hour plus of just plugging the cables in so they lay correctly.
Yeah, it takes a long time sometimes.
Because if you have if you have 4 PowerLink cables, Ethernet, the pass through to the TV, then with
3 HDMI's.
Yeah. And potential 2 puck things. It's like, that is tight.
Now, puck doesn't matter, because those are very, very thin cables. I don't really care for those. But then, yeah, talking the 3 the HDMI's, the 3 HDMI's, they can vary very different because if you need, let's say, like we have the 4.5 meter ones, and they're thick like cement mixer cables, right?
Yeah.
Where they kind of have to be to carry all this nonsense. Where on the short ones, like the 1 meters, you can fit all 3 connections without any problems and issues, because they're super thin. You're talking, 4 mil cable diameter, so it's easier to manage that. But it's, man, not many places that I had gone to that I had to have all the connections done. But for anybody that has a USB-C input plugged into the theater and has a weird behavior with their screen turning off sometimes, and the product switching to line input because there's literally a buzz on the line and it switches on its own, I suggest in the app just disable line insensitivity, because you didn't really delete the line in input from the Beo remote. You can still call it up, it'll still turn it on, but it'll be insensitive to whatever signals coming into it to trigger the theater to turn on the line in. So that's a little trick that I had come across finding out. So I disable line in everywhere on everything now. Fuck it, like it's in your thing, but just in case. Do you have that problem?
No, I don't use it. I have a cable from Steve to do it with. I just haven't gotten around to putting anything on it yet. I mean, because I have a slightly weird setup, right? Like the record player is going to the rear 50s only. And that kind of works for me. Because like the couch is like TV facing. because it's a bit weird to put a record on, then walk around and like have your record like sort of here, and like I'd rather sit at my dining table with the 50s like pointing at me.
Mm.
But let's see. So almost nobody says their app experience is getting any better. The same. I guess you're lucky. I mean,
Yeah,
I still haven't installed my stage, but I'm wondering if that's fixed yet. All the bugs that are now there. I mean, it's been what, 2 months, 3 months?
I think so. It's been a while.
I mean, you must be lucky that you don't have an Avant anymore because you can't do listening positions or speaker groups anymore on the app with that.
Yeah, but with the Avant or anything, like honestly, I do not use the app at all. I use it to set it up. Uh, you know, take over the account from the client, set up the whole fucking thing, organize whatever, right? Because sometimes it depends on how you install and what you pair. So you don't put like the Halo remote is not on the top, excuse me, versus the speakers or the theater. So you organize everything. I go through all the sources, clean it all up, and then I close it and I let the client pick it up, restart the app so it populates in proper order. That because it still keeps it in the cache the way it was with the ads, right? Like nothing is paired or icons of the products don't show up. So restart the app, open it up, shows up everything the way it is. Apparently the home screen is going to be gone on the next 6.0.2 version. So far I have it on mine, which is okay. But yeah, it's very it's somewhat a little bit counterintuitive, and I think that they need to address it. Not just like I think the patching needs to stop. They need to just redesign the app completely. It's been around since 27th of November 2016.
Yeah, so
That's
apparently
when the
this is
app
going to
was
be the
introduced.
new home screen. It'll open to the last product you use, then you have to go down here to click, and then you get a list of all your other
Why don't I
product
not
items.
have it? Is it the beta? Because I'm not a beta tester, so that's
It's
why.
the 6.0.2, I think.
Yeah, I'm on the 601. So for me, it's not changed yet. Which is another like, why do you do that? Like, you just have everybody get used to one thing, and then you just change it completely to another.
And then I think this is what, the ads tab or the ambassador program where you can see all the Charles Leclerc videos or whatever the fuck. Look, next they're gonna build in a bloody web portal to buy stuff, right?
Oh God, I wouldn't trust to. I wouldn't trust to buy through app, anyways.
I mean, talk about a kick in the teeth to all your dealers.
Oh well, it still doesn't have help because sometimes like the app gives you the ads of the certain deals, and people come in and like we don't know that those deals are available, right? Because once you have your app set up, you don't have the ads.
Look, if I wanted ads, I'd
So
go to the website.
yeah,
I still don't quite understand like why people ask for the no product homepage thing. It's slightly weird to me because I don't always want to go back to the same product I was using. Plus, if you don't fully lock it out or like up swipe it or whatever, like delete it, you'll end up in the same place anyway.
this is gonna be a fucking mess for the dealers
Yes,
because when you're doing a demo, if it's gonna keep coming back to the same or previous whatever, right?
last used. Yeah.
Last used, it's I think it's gonna be annoying. Because if it last used based on a volume change, if somebody changes volume on another product, is it going to go back to that now? So now you're controlling an A5 that somebody diddly dally with instead of the 90s that you're playing through on the harmony, or how? Like, I don't understand. I don't have it yet, so I can't really comment to it. I don't know if I should be grateful or thankful or disappointed, but I don't have it yet. For me, honestly, that go back to the same kind of makes sense in uh in my environment, because if I'm doing something on the theater and it always like if it goes back to, there's no home screen when it crashes and it crashes to the same page that I was on, I'm more or less okay with it, I guess. Does that make sense?
One hopes.
Right.
Look,
But
in the
I
end,
don't
I
know.
wouldn't really care what they did with it if like all these bugs were addressed first, right? Like and like I am still really annoyed at that features that were around on products that you sold and are still selling in some cases that are just gone.
Hmm.
Like I and that is acceptable for 2-3 months. I don't understand that. And I know they stopped essentially when they say very high net worth individuals. Like they essentially, it comes across to me like, yeah, this is why we can live with the stage being fucked up, right? Like, because like we don't care about you.
Yeah, but they also don't care about people with the 50s and 90s, man. And if that's not, are these not high net worth individuals?
Well,
People
maybe
that
if you
can
have two pairs of everything.
they can toss fucking $80,000 for a pair of speakers, which is more or less, a down payment on a house. Small
Uh,
one in Canada, probably on a
it
shack.
won't go to last use. It will start the app will open to the product you selected pop up first. God, so you have source behavior essentially for the app.
Okay, that makes sense, but that's gonna be unbelievably annoying for dealers because every time you're doing a demo on something and your app crashes and it reopens to a default product that you are now controlling but you don't really need to control, that's going to be really annoying that you have to go down and select and go. I don't know. I'm gonna hold my breath and wait till the app update hits my phone and then I will report back, but I just don't see. I see that for in-home use, yes, and for people that have maybe one or two products like me right now. But like I had it back in Calgary where I had 4 zones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the end of the day, I really couldn't give two hoots about it, anyways, because everything was controlled through the gateway. So when I got home, I pressed the music button at the door. The fucking music turned on in every single room, and the volume was regulated based on occupancy sensors. So if you go to the washroom, the music turns up, leave, turns down. So I never really had a need and use for the app, and most of my interface at that point was through BeoSound Moments. That's where I was taking the net radio out of, right? Because I didn't have the Mozart platform wasn't really established that well, and also it wasn't bugged free for the network link distribution. Also, because there was some problems with the early stages, as we all remember. So for me, yeah, it worked. Now it's a little different, and I don't know. And the reason why I have to be dependent on this bloody app is because the theater, for some reason, is unable, or they just forgotten that in the programming to have it or give it the ability to distinguish between Atmos, DTS, 5.1, 7.1, whatever else the hell is coming into it, and based off of that, set your speaker groups properly. Maybe there should be another tab where you go, if it's detected or if it's playing Dolby Atmos, then you go select this and select that as my output presets or listening preset and a sound mode.
It could be that there's something wrong in the true image algorithm, right?
I would really suspect that because, dude, like listening to the title in direct mode, the Dolby Surround music or Dolby Atmos music, which is it's fucking hilarious to listen to Snoop Dogg's old album, where all the chicks are in the back and shit. Like they sound like they're beside you and like a little bit higher up. It's messed up. It sounds really good, but if you go to True Image, it kills the experience completely. I don't know what and why and how, but everything just collapsed into the center channel. If it's too woofy, we put it back to direct mode, man. It's just a pleasure for your ears. It's absolutely the best. So I think that, I guess, if the amount of channels suffices in your setup, you're better off doing direct and true image, which is very unfortunate now because that was their game. That was the like that was the goat, right, back in the
Yeah.
day. and I find that in direct mode I have a better acoustic experience, and put the 18s back in the store, which is also very interesting. Just to divert for a second, I brought the 18s back into the shop. I've reset them. I didn't reset them. I just disconnected them from the TV, so automatically they've reset the connection.
Yeah.
And I remember from the last time when I borrowed, I forget what it was. I think it was 18s or 8s, and they were WiSA connected. I put them back to the same spots in the showroom. I turned on the harmony back on, and they paired back in as surround left and surround right automatically, which was pretty cool. That they retain, I guess their address is retained on the harmony or previous system. So yeah, but that being said, uh, left and rights with or without using the left and rights in the theater, direct mode still is absolutely much better for Dolby Atmos experience. With as per the documentation, I would still go to the revision 1 instead of the revision 2.
Just don't get how like true image, even on the harmony, is amazing, right?
Oh,
Uh, and somehow it can't adjust for if it sees or doesn't see Atmos. It just does one thing only, and it's kind of meh.
it's okay in regular surround modes. The in my ears, the true image sounds great with nothing that has Atmos or heights channels, right?
Yeah.
As a native in the signal. But once you introduce the ceiling speakers or height speakers or whatever you want to call them, in the Atmos terms, you're better off in switching to a direct mode. 100%.
Yeah, it's kind of
And
bizarre.
it's bizarre, and to me, it's more as frustrating than it took me a year and a half to actually even know it, right? And I played around with my theater quite a bit, but you get to the point where like, okay, well, how much, blah blah blah, this and that, and also, the PCM encoding 2.0 channels had an issue with, right? Like, so there was, I didn't really want to mess with it. Like, fuck, it works. I'm happy that it doesn't reboot every time I go from YouTube to Deezer anymore. I'm good. I'm good with all that shit. And actually, like, I'm very impressed how even removing the speakers and everything else, it retained everything that obviously I didn't change. It had no impact on it. I didn't reset the factory this time when I added them or removed them, and it was pretty freaking smooth.
It should be though.
Yeah. But I don't
Maybe.
know. For me, it's like if my account is flagged and like they just would make everything work on Willie's shit. So then I sound like the crazy guy, right? Like, no, it fucking works, man. And everybody else around me, has their freaking roof on fire, and I'm sitting there, with the beer in hand on the back of the yard, asking what's going on. So no, for me it all works. I have no problems. Obviously, I only listen to or consume media that are on the panel, so I don't have much of an experience with or personal experience, long term experience with having bloody HDMI's connected into the pucks and what the difference is. But it's so far that's the normal. It behaves as any other BNO TV back in the day.
KCBR and Sandy both say the surround and envelopment settings don't work in the app, which is kind of strange because, again, maybe I'm flagged like you, right? Because they work for me and they make a huge difference. But I'm also on an old app, so maybe it's the app version where, like, because you guys may be on a newer app version, because I'm still on 4.8 or something. Because I essentially like hexed it all, like, stay away from me.
Do you think that operating systems have anything to do with it that people run on their mobiles?
It's so convoluted that I'm tempted to say yes.
Because
I'm
I like that's what I was thinking about. Like fuck, like I run. Well, this is like the Samsung's latest and greatest, right? The S24 Ultra. I always have the software up to date, and for me, I had been in a house setting up a stage where the dude had the exact same phone
yeah.
and he couldn't get control on it. reinstall the app, you can't add the product for some reason. And I had his account with his product in my. Absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like I was almost 100% sure it was my phone, right? When I couldn't get my old Deezer account off my app. Like that issue I had like 3 months ago, where like there was no way I could get all those old account details out of there. I logged out, I deleted the app, I reinstalled, and it was back again. And it was like, what the hell? And
for me, like one thing that I don't understand, like in Stefan's case when he was on the show a few weeks back, once he recreated a new account under a new email, everything was corrected. So what the fuck breaks on your account information, the little folder that they have with your name on it, right? That what breaks in that you no longer are able to access your product whatsoever. You have to recreate an account, and then it's just absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, I think Billy was saying that he got a replacement theater and they can't see that it's online when it is, right? And working. And he's sending logs, and it's like,
I've seen that happen with Mozart products where you turn them on and like I go to PHC and they say the product is disconnected from network or server, unable to check in, whatever. It gives you a little red cloud. Red, nothing red on B&O app is good news. So, you know.
Yeah, and but like the weird thing is, it's probably like playing Deezer right in front of you, right? I mean, it's
yeah, Stefan said they need to clean up the code base after adding any new features or before adding new features. I think that they honestly should just stop piling up nonsense on this app and just completely rebuild this from scratch and go.
I mean, the thing Stefan had like a few weeks ago where like he couldn't log in or get to his products at all, right? And he just got the ad thing. Yeah, that's that it would only show that as a bug, but all those ads showing wasn't a bug. That's like the new direction where like you have a tab for your brand ambassadors and you're like, ooh, you can look at the cinema experience video B&O has on their website and that sort of thing. But you're just staring it into your B&O app. And to the point, it's like, okay.
So cool. So cool, man.
Like either it needs to be fully rebuilt or it needs to be just a setup tool, essentially.
Well, but then you're floating into the risk of how do you, well, yeah, because then you offload all the services. The only problem you would have is navigating B&O radio because that's their embedded system.
But you set it up and then use your remote from there on in.
Fair. And just abandon the use of the app completely?
More or less. Like, that's how it used to be, right? Like, for some reason, people want to use their phones all the time to change things, is what I'm constantly being told. Like, people love using their apps over remotes. So either make it...
I do kind of agree with that, because for me, like, sorry to interrupt, it's like, you know, Savant systems that we sell in the Quebec Zone. They're fucking rock solid. But everybody that they have, I'm like, they have regular remote controls, but people prefer the iPads. It would drive me fucking nuts to go and switch channels on the iPad, right? Because then your hand runs away, and all of a sudden you're not changing. You're just also mute. Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry. Okay, here, let's go. Or navigating the menu. I personally do not have patience for that. For me, I couldn't even care less. You know, like the B&O remote inside the app, like on the stage. I think it should be there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the touchpad and all that, but I like that, you know, at least have the proper, you know, the minimum buttons. So
Mark says at least you can see the app in the
dark. You can see it way too good. That's also the problem. But maybe that's why people are using it, because yeah, you can't really navigate to be a remote one at all in the dark spaces. And Bro, I've had this remote in my hand since the Avant first came out, which was what, 2012. So I'm on 12 years of using this, and I still list and what's the and back. They still get confused for me
Yeah, it's just that there's no
because
tactile difference between the button
no,
above it and below it, really.
and depends where you grabbed it. You know, you're one button too low of where you normally are, and you're screwed. Even though, yeah, there is this tactile feedback line, but you know, Thorsten, come on, bro. Like, not everybody has soft hands like you, and even I don't. But like after a few days of pre-wire, I can't even feel that shit at all.
No, I'm doing way too much DIY to feel the ridge at all. Like I actually sometimes use my nail, right? Like to just because I like with my fingers I just don't feel
Mm.
it. So I just like okay, I feel that ridge with my nail and then push it. I mean it's a bit ridiculous.
Billy, you still have the popping going on? I thought you redid the you ran the mic and it went away.
Yeah, and it's back again. And this is on the
Oh,
second theater now.
maybe it's your carpet.
It's
Your
also a
name.
second house.
Oh yeah, maybe it's your house
It's
too. Should go
it's
move back.
it's a second panel.
First wife still? I
No,
need a
first
new wife.
kid.
First kid, need another kid, man. That's bizarre. That's very
Yeah, get
bizarre.
another kid for stereo popping.
Fuck. See, carpet, told you. He's hardwood in the two other ones. It's too much static. No, no. All jokes aside, that's really bizarre that it's still happening.
Yeah, Billy, I still want you to try an Ethernet cable because
Between or Wi-Fi's.
instead of
Right.
Wi-Fi, yeah, an Ethernet cable from the theater straight to your router, whatever, right? Disable the Wi-Fi because when
See
I
what
had the
happens.
popping issue with the 50s, that cable did reduce the popping a significant bit. And then it turned out that there was some weird Wi-Fi thing with pinging, and that it still happened with the cable, but
So what is it? Leaking data into the board
there
from
was
the
some sort
Wi-Fi
of
antenna?
data corruption thing going on,
Oh,
which happened less with the cable, but it turned out to be fixable in software.
interesting. But yeah, that's bizarre. I would, yeah, if you can, or like talk to your dealer. They can cut you a fucking 30-foot cable of Cat 5 or Cat 6. Put two connectors on it and just run it from just for the sake and of sanity.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they're not too enthused about that situation either.
No, you're still in warranty, so I mean,
Yeah, but that's
but
yeah,
this
that's
doesn't fall under like oopsie. This is like something is going on,
there's
and it.
something weird. Yeah,
I mean, who knows if it's the DSP or whatever it is, but if you're one of the few, right, and you have it over two different products, surely they must be able to point to what it is, even if it's something on your end that you're not
what
aware of. But
sources does that happen on?
apparently, everything. YouTube
Hmm.
internally, YouTube on the Apple
Apple
TV,
TV.
any of the
So it
codec
is
switching.
it is something to do with the DSP inside the theater. Because if it's feeding all of it into the theater, then there's got to be something. I don't understand what Finn is asking. Is Ethernet better than HDMI if we're talking sound
It
signals?
makes next to no difference, and it also depends on what you're doing
Yes.
and how far. So it, we're turning slowly into Jeff, right? Like there's no yes or no on anything anymore.
Why are we like that now? Oh boy. Yeah, there's really no definite yes and whatnot. Yeah, Stefan, I'm making a move too, Cardis. I'm gonna buy a set, but we'll see because I'm gonna have a set reserved, so I'm gonna still get it for the old price. So I'll put some money down. But if I'm gonna be moving in September, is there a point for me to set them up here? Not really. I already lived here for fucking 2 years. No, I'm not getting anthracite. I'm getting silver, bro. I'm already pregnant with silver all over the place. So the only thing that I really want to get is the walnut covers, which are now available.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're silly expensive. So like the one thing that I was talking about, I guess, a few podcasts ago was the how busy the lamellas are compared to 18s versus the theater when they're side by side. That the 8s have a much better visual presentation with it because the spacing is more or less similar,
Mm-hmm.
and also the profile of the grind is the same, right? The flat top, where this is beveled
Yeah.
tops on the 18s. So I diverged a little bit, but yeah, that's that's one thing that I'm considering. Like, do I really care for the walnut and just go with the gray melange, be a cheap deal about it, and put them in the back?
If you wall or ceiling mount them, do you even see the difference or the inset?
No, no. And I wouldn't wall. I would still floor stand them for sure because wherever I would move, I'm not, and especially like it's gonna be the older houses in Montreal. I'm not pulling fucking cables through all that lattice and shit. There's no way. It's gonna be just loom and surface running. So just power cords would be the best way to do it. And if I do unbox the 90s, then I don't know, Stefan. My lease is up in September, at the end of September, so I'm considering to go somewhere close to the. For the money that I'm paying here, I can just buy rent a 2 bedroom apartment and move my storage into it and fucking crack the 90s, bro.
I mean,
Because it looks like I'm gonna be here stuck for a little bit longer than I anticipated based on our government and how long I have to wait for fucking paperwork now. So.
for the 8, I love this picture. This is awesome.
Hmm.
This
No, these look baller.
the one on the left makes no sense because like all you hear is bass. Like have fun.
What are these just like rear channels, bro? That she's totally blown away by the theater in 50s. Or maybe her girlfriend, because it's all like, nowadays the cross genderism. Maybe she's lying in front of the 90s and that's the other side of the picture.
Or is it the same person? I can't even tell.
It could be.
But anyway, when you're that close laying to 90s, like you're only listening to that massive front driver and maybe those 10-inch drivers up here.
Well, the way she's positioned about it, she freaking seems to like it.
Yeah, good vibrations and stuff like that.
That's right. Maybe it's the same effect down there like the Maxell tape. Remember the guy on the couch? So,
Me, but this the one on the right with the 8, that looks stellar to me. I really like that.
we put the dark oak on the golden 8s. They look sick. They look sick. I think the white oak just kind of washes the whole presentation out a little. It makes them too subdued, which is not bad, but they got a little bit more pop when they have those dark oak grills. So the wife just moved in, so she's regretful.
But the ceiling mounts are back on the menu again, it seems like, if you put
Yeah,
out something like this.
yeah, I think they will be.
Are they essentially just upside down floor mounts or like table stands?
Basically, but I'm sure there is a little bit difference in how
Like
thick
there's an
they are.
extra ring or something.
I'm sure there's a difference in profile thickness because you got to be able to fit the cable somewhere in there and somehow, some way, plug it in. To me, they might even be the same depth as the wall brackets are, which is about a good 2 centimeters, 2.5 almost. Like I don't think they're inch, but that's uh, that's gonna be interesting. That's going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. We're doing at least one or two of those. But yeah, for now, I think the most interesting way to put the 28s, they actually look good on the wall, man. Once you see them in person, they do look good on the wall. And the bronze one looks sick. So I recommend. This is a good picture too. I think we've been through them. I feel like I have a deja vu for some reason.
I mean, it's a great setup too.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you start over or start from scratch, like this is an amazing point to be at.
Yeah, you can't go any cleaner than that. There's just no way.
I mean, and depending on the room size, like for most rooms, right, this is plenty. Then again, do you need 50s? Well, define need. I would say yes, but
Oh, and that's on the motorized wall bracket too.
apparently there's going to be a bigger motorized wall bracket now for the 77 too.
Yeah, it's already out. It is available. Beo News. Where is this? Also, I see here LG TV has only 2 years warranty. And they don't specify what panels they are. We would like to remind you that the LG TV sold with B&O sound system do not have the same warranty period as a B&O product. LG TVs have a 2-year warranty period, which means generating power from LGs outside this period will be payable repaired. And none of it, blah blah. So that's interesting. I guess
I guess I buy my panels at like Costco then, because at Costco I get 5 years warranty on them.
We do 5-year warranty on ours still.
Yeah, so weird.
But it could be on the C panels or the cheap panels, not the big one, not the big boys.
Yeah, I got a C panel like 6 months ago.
C's and G's, 5 years
warranty.
Yeah, C's and G's have 5 years, I'm sure. C's and G's have 5 years warranty. Where is that wall bracket thing?
Like, why would you buy any other panel? Like the B and the A is not really worth it for any combination with B and O anyway.
We're delighted to announce the launch of 77-inch motorized wall bracket option for BeoVision Theater. The new 77 motorized wall bracket solution will be an extension of the unique solution already known from our 55 and 65 versions. The 77 motorized wall bracket is based on the same principle, but with strengths and construction to carry the weight of the 77-inch screen. This means that the wall plate will be extended in height and width, including re-engineered bearing and beam aluminum deco front. So those are the changes. Availability 12th of August 24.
Good. Finally. Like the amount of people that wanted a 77 on the wall to move. Like, especially if you came from like an 85 or something, right? Avant, right? Like you can have those moving. Like, or a 75. Like, why couldn't you have like a smaller TV that's lighter move?
For me, I honestly, the way I see it is, and I'm glad that they've made it, but it definitely is a logistical nightmare installing that stuff in an existing condos, especially because of the way that they're constructed with metal studs. This is a huge problem. And for this, you're already spending a lot of money on the television, and you have to open up that wall to reinforce it in the condos. In Europe, it's a little different if it's a concrete structure because that shit doesn't
or break.
Like your problem is more or less like running the cables in a discreet and decent manner. That's about all you have to worry about. Where, we can hide the wire, but if you have that TV fall off the wall, it'll rip out fucking everything that's attached to it. So, and one stud will not hold a 77-inch TV securely, in my opinion. No way.
It
with
will bend
and all, but it will bend. It over time. That's gonna not be good.
It's gonna go off level for sure.
Yeah,
especially if you tilt it out often.
I also find that we've done a few wall brackets. If you do motorized wall bracket, I personally recommend, if you're an installer or whatnot, do the wall bracket 3 millimeters off level on the non-hinge side, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I would do 5 mils because when you put the theater on, it sags a little more. But the starting point is if you have the entire system built on top of it, you should be 3 mils off the level. Because in 2 weeks' time, that TV will sag exactly to level. And then it stops moving. Then it doesn't. Like it opens, you know what I mean? But it stops sagging. Like the process of settling all that within the wall structure and everything is just, the wall plate by then is now stuck to the paint of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to go anywhere. And it's just fine. Because I found like a few times when boys would install it, they would perfectly level it, of course, right? So it doesn't look fucked. But then you come back there in a month and the TV looks crooked, and you just have to, lift it and adjust it with the Allen key on the bottom of the bracket. So.
I'm sorry, Stefan. I'm bad influence.
64 it looks like that. It's like it's a fucking iPad, bro. That's my 65 is
Did you see that new digital trends video about was it the Hisense or whatever 115-inch TV? Because they had a comparison shot in there about the AI and image smoothing, right? And as a comparison, they used a 65-inch OLED, but it looked like a goddamn like monitor compared to. I'll see if I can pull it up. It was like crazy, that difference. Where are you?
here. I'll share my screen here in the meantime as well.
Oh, got it. Blah 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 blah. Mute mute mute.
What's happening? There we go.
There you go.
This is it.
I have the comparison. It's on the screen.
What is that? What size is the below? 55 or 65?
65.
Holy mother of mercy, man. And the other one seems to have a brighter picture, at least on the darker spots of the pot, like where those grains
Yeah,
are.
it's an LCD version, and I think they said with 10% window, it goes like 3,400 nits or something.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot of LED blocks underneath that thing.
It's but like we're gonna end up. It's already to the point, right, where like
it's ridiculous.
5 inches like a normal size TV now. It's not even large anymore. It's
65 is like we did a 48-inch TV the other day somewhere, and I'm just like, the fuck, we much people put that on the wall, man. It's one hand, you know, spin it like a pizza though. It's so light, it's so plasticky. I don't know, it's too small nowadays. But so yeah, this is what I bought on Temu. Okay, here I can zoom that in. There we go. So it's such a funny design. Too bad that I don't have a black A1. But yeah, that's apparently the legs are magnetic. We'll see how that works. It's on the way. It's on the way. Look how happy she is. So yeah, there you go. I'll stop sharing. Pink. That's funny. I like that thing. So yeah, Temu. I wonder if I can share the link.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Can't.
I really I'm almost thinking like I use this so little, like I don't
What's
know
the
what to
point?
do with it really anymore. Because I don't use it outside anymore. I have an A5, right? And it's like the difference is huge.
I use mine in the garage cleaning the car. That's about the only time. So once a week, once every 2 weeks, depends on how bad the shit is outside.
I guess I tend to listen to like podcasts and books and that sort of thing, and sometimes they're kind of spicy, right? So I don't want it necessarily on speaker, where the neighbors are like, "What the fuck are you listening
Yeah,
to?"
just weird conspiracy theory.
Like birds aren't real.
That's right, lizard people.
They're CIA machines that are meant to mind control us. And
Oh God. Yeah, for me, the only time I use it is there and in the park. But yeah, in the shower is good, but I don't. I have a emerge in the shower, not inside, but like it's in the room.
I mean, speak about
So
things you shouldn't Google. Like one of this is like a real thing of like birds aren't real.
speaking of Google, I think they should have an option that removes the Google option or Google ability from the through Mozart platform products. Because I really was looking into it. That's hilarious. Wireless, and what the fuck, man? Inductive charging coil on the feet.
Yeah, that's why they always sit on power lines. That's the whole like conspiracy
Inductive chargers. Oh Christ on a cross. That is fucking next level awesome. I would love to have a serious conversation with that person and reason. CPU. What's the CPU for? I guess it has to send the stuff back, right?
yeah.
That is just hilarious. So, but yeah, I think just like in the title says today, I think that there should be an option to remove. I don't understand what the difference is because there's no hardware difference in the Googlies and non-Googlies.
I think you pay a license and Google wants to own a lot of the data, and this is why I'm always been against anything GVA. Because your line in is owned by Google, your stereo pairing is owned by Google.
Your Bluetooth is owned by Google.
Yeah, like you need the Google app to actually attach your remote to your GVA speaker.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
it's all a bit weird. Speaking about you shouldn't Google it, you definitely shouldn't Google the new headphones that B&O will be making and releasing.
Yeah.
Because as per usual, right? Like you don't have to be an absolute genius to just Google because like the FCC has like product info of coming things, and then you just need to put a space in it and slightly know how to read them. And then B&O needs to remember that they tell their media partners, which we are not, because we don't leak shit. But like the best kept secret isn't just plopped out there on websites.
No. Yeah, I've
Uh,
seen them. I'm not. What can I say?
well, that's why I'm not showing them, right? But I'm just telling you not to Google them. I mean, the websites are down, but the way Google works, everything is still in cache.
Oh,
And if any of you sneaky buggers manage to like archive it, it's still up. But
so.
again, this is a communication issue, right?
Hmm.
Uh, I actually like the. I actually haven't looked at it. It's more that people noticed it, and I saw it that way because it's obviously such a well kept secret that I kind of didn't need to Google it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Look, I'm not really saying much of anything other than like it's gonna be really, really expensive.
I just don't care about the headphones, quite honestly.
Well, we're back to the like.
Why are we the speaker company that makes the best headphones? Or claims to, per se, not because there is, that's a little too bold to say that they make the best headphones.
Well, these may very well be that, but even so, I kind of still don't care personally.
It's not for me. And you know what? Like, I look at it, like, we do sell headphones, but the most time that they move, in my opinion, when we sell a lot of them, is to corporate. Like, they have some sort of an event, and they buy 10, 15, 20 pairs. But
Wow,
I see
that's
more people with headache coming back, buying them off
in USD.
anywhere else.
Like that's some corporate gift because that's 50 grand.
Yeah, people splurge on this shit here, which is good. I don't mind. Good for everybody.
Means
But headphones, come on, guys. I think honestly, you guys should consider introducing something along the lines or acoustic capabilities of a BeoLab 20, but in a nicer rendition. Because we don't have anything, 28s, they lack the bass a little bit when you start going up the scale. That's just a given. But
maybe use that active bass port idea.
something like that, and do something that is not quite the 50s level. And I think they would sell quite a bit, and also they're not as robust, so they will fit into more households. Because a lot of the people that do feel, they could go with the 50s or whatever, it's a lot of money, but it's a lot of speaker too.
I mean, maybe with one of those active bass ports, right? You can have a speaker that is about, like, let's say, an inch either side wider than the 10-inch driver the Edge has, but just make it sleek, like 4 inches wide all the way up. Like a sort of enlarged BeoLab 12 idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be killer, and it would fit everywhere, and it almost looks sort of Magnepan-esque.
I don't think we'll ever see a speaker with so much aluminium on it as the BeoLab once had, or
Yeah.
ever had, because that is expensive now. That is very expensive. The most aluminium that you can buy on the speaker now is the BeoLab 18. That has the most aluminium in the current portfolio.
Yeah.
Everything else is, that
Well,
crazy
50s
plastic.
have
And
quite a bit of it, and it's really thick.
oh, the top and bottom crown, I agreed, 100%.
Yeah, and even the side pieces, right? Like,
And the side pieces, yeah,
like you can hit somebody with that and it won't bend.
Oh, you can fuck them up.
Yes.
It's got, I think it's like a 2.5 mil thick sheets of aluminium.
Yeah, I have a sheet here somewhere. I don't know where I put it.
Yeah, you got that little helmet thing going on, right?
No, I have an extra. So the customs people made a scratch on one of the sides, right?
Ah, Christ. So you gotta get that replaced, or you did?
No, I got that because that was insured. And
Yeah.
then the first one my dealer sent got lost in the mail, so he sent another one, all insured, so nobody's out of money. And then, like 3 months later, I get a package delivered, and it was another side. Like they found it somehow, like where it fell off the belt, and so now I have an extra one. It's like, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, aluminium there's not much of it now on anything really. 90s have the least, even though they have the most.
I mean, yeah. In
Like,
terms of
nicely
these
finished
headphones,
aluminium.
like the I think the name is out there. Like it's H100s, right? Like and like the 95s, they'll probably be for the 100th birthday, and you'll probably get the first 100 engraved or something like that again. Like I like the H95s, but I prefer the Portals because they're more fun and like I mean, this is to the point where you can buy either 2 sets of headphones or a pair of 8s. which like give or take 10% is in the same price category.
Pair of eights, BeoLab
Yeah,
eights. How
yeah,
much are those? That's what headphones are gonna be.
yeah. If you buy 2 headphones or a set of 8s, that is give or take within 10% of the same price.
Oh wow, interesting.
Like the
I still
H95s will be the new middle of the road headphone.
That's the kind of headphones that you'd have a shower and a haircut before you listen to.
Yeah.
Like I'm not into that. I'd rather sit in front of my 90s and do that.
So like I get there for sure absolutely is a market for like headphones, right? But like are you gonna walk with these outside?
And fuck no.
I mean, unless
What
you're
if you get caught in the rain, bro? That I wouldn't even care because people wouldn't know how expensive those things are to begin with, even though they look luscious and whatever. But I would just be scared if something happens.
I mean, I guess we're too poor to sort of not care if we lose something like that, right?
You know
Maybe
what? For
that's
me, it's not
it.
even that. I don't have it in me. I don't walk around busy downtown with headphones plugged in. Like I used to. I've taken these out maybe twice, and I don't like it. I don't like to have these huge headphones on and listen to music while I walk around. I don't know what's going on. Uh, uh, I don't know. I guess I'm becoming too old fashioned and old now, so I just want to be aware of what's going on around me.
I mean, Sennheiser, like HD A20Ss, right? Like they're in a similar sort of ballpark.
Hmm.
Uh, where like, and they sound excellent. So like, I'm not berating the choice, but like Sennheiser is kind of known for their headphones.
And microphones, yes.
Yes. So that kind of makes sense. Like for a company that's mostly known for its speakers, aka B&O, I think it's kind of weird that the thing that gets the 100-year moniker is headphones. I don't even mind the price so much. They may be very well justified in asking it, but it's kind of odd to me. Like,
I hope they come up with a speaker that is in between 28s and 50s for the 100th anniversary, at least something that is
if they make
feasible.
a
And
BeoLab 5C for their 100th in the same year, yes,
I think that's going to happen too.
I'll happily promote the shit out of that. Because that's excellent, right? Like it's kind of sad in a way that like you're out of ideas. I'd rather have a new design. And like I've been saying for weeks now, like I hate that current things or like are 90s current, I guess because they're in the portfolio, but like they're from 2015 and nothing has changed. Like why is the price going up so much? Why not put like a BeoLab 100 above that and make it 250 grand starting point and customize it to like 350
Hmm.
and keep the 90s where they are. I
Yeah,
mean,
they have their place established more or less in the portfolio,
yeah.
and that's just what it is. But then again, also like the lap fives didn't sell for the initial price when they got discontinued. They were almost double, also, at least here, and nothing's changed on them other than the lights turned off on the newer Mark Twos. But that's about it. But I don't know. I really don't think that the headphones release on the 100th anniversary, which is I would say a fucking big deal, is a good idea. I think it's a little more significant than having headphones out. They have to come up with something.
I mean, the reason why I doubt, right, why it will be a BioLab 100 is that just if you listen to Jeff, right, the
Mm.
90s took him what 8 years as a sole project to make. Like,
Yeah, but they already have all the groundwork laid, man. Honestly, like they know what drivers they can use if they use something that is similar with the 50s or the 90s to mix and match together. You
sure,
know what
but
I'm
just
saying?
just just the amount of time you need for building the boxes, like whatever shape it is, right? Like they said, that slight. If you look at the top of the crown where the mid ranges sit, that slight.
No,
did.
I understand that on the 90s. Yes, I get it. But
But
that's like
you're
now
gonna
it's
have to do that all over again with a different shape. Like, and it may not take 8 years, right? But it's gonna take you 2 or 3 to get that to the point where like your shapes aren't like doing that half or a third of a decibel measurable fucked up thing.
maybe that's what they're all working on, and they abandoned the app. It's fallen apart because they're designing a new speaker for the 100th anniversary.
Well, Java says, I get that, but what if they've been working on it since the 90s? The thing is, they haven't, because Hendrik interviewed Jeff, what, 2 years ago, and he had a bunch of projects going on, one of which we know for sure was the theater.
Yeah,
So, like,
I don't know what they're
and
gonna do.
there is other
Like,
people, and like you have Neo that does a lot of the headphone stuff with that like amazing cube sound room
yeah, yeah,
thing
yeah, yeah, yeah.
with all the studio monitors. I mean, they never admit what they are actually doing, but you would have probably heard something by now, right? Because like you don't build something that enormous and nobody knows. And look, if it was Apple or like BMW, it would be something else. Because they can actually keep secrets. It's not very good at keeping secrets.
Not at all.
Like everybody that's under NDAs, just sort of like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, they just whisper between one another, and the rumor spreads. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping for something significant to come out on the 100th birthday. We're not far from it, man. Jesus, one more year, and a few more months.
I mean, and again, I would love for them to make a celebration of their 100th birthday with a ridiculously expensive speaker that I will never ever be able to buy. I'd be happy for that. What I'm less happy about is something that everybody could afford a few years ago that is now out of reach. Like, that makes no sense to me. And the reason being is that, oh yeah, it's actually too cheap. Like, what? Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, it makes no sense to me that the 50s and 90s are like double the price they started at. And the reason isn't inflation, it's literally, oh, like the sales don't go down if we ask more for it.
Yeah, and they just inch it up over time to insane amount of money now.
Yeah.
Which, I'm happy, because if I ever decide to get rid of them, I'll never lose cash. I'll never lose cash on them.
Yeah.
Like, even though they're now, 8 years old, technically 6 years old, because they've been sitting in a storage locker since February of 2022. Fuck.
I mean, like, I don't mind shit being expensive, but I kind of hate it when it was attainable. And I know we're not the target audience anymore, but I also don't think you can actually tell the very high net worth individuals. Like, our top of the range speaker is the BeoLab 90. And you go, I think I heard of that. And you go on your phone, you Google it, and you look at a review, right? Because who knows, you may still care, like what Hi-Fi says. Test it at, and like, what the actual fuck? Like, even if you're like, I don't know, play for Manchester City or whatever, and you make like 100 grand a month, right? Or sorry, 100 grand a week, because that's what a lot of these bastards are on. It's sort of like, I'm still not totally price insensitive, right?
Yeah, but you still got less give a shit than, people like
Yeah,
us
but
that spend the penny and turn it over twice before they do. So I honestly think that the marketing and I disagree with their positioning of their company in the market right now, and abandoning the core people that sustain the company. And if you think that you're just gonna cater to these high net worth individuals with your not fully
functional app.
functioning gear and equipment, when a couple guys, and those guys are wealthy enough to say, fuck this shit, I'm throwing it out in the garbage and I'm putting something else in.
Like Stefan, an older tech bro, right? He looks at this as like, wait, why am I paying for this shit? Like with this as a control?
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine if you like want your Zuckerbergs of the world, right? Like your Elon Musk and stuff to be your customers. And this is your app? Like I know Twitter isn't hot, right? But it works more often than it doesn't.
Fucking right. No, that's one thing that they're really pushing themselves into a corner that they might not be able to back out of. And I don't know if the obviously it's the leadership that's driving the direction, because it's not the guys that are designing the product, and definitely not the guys that are doing the app, because there's probably 10-15 people working on this thing.
Somebody needs to get fired over this shit because
Somebody needs
like it's
to be
too long.
way too long, way too long, and the changes bring just more grief. Like I said, I
You're
don't
a
know how
wealthy
long would it
individual.
take.
You have some kids. You go like, oh, they may need a contour in their bedroom, right? Fuck, all the sound settings no longer work. Yeah, that's a thing. We know. Like, when will it be fixed? 2-3 months,
Yeah. No, I know, Sandy,
maybe.
that they're doubling down on their current strategy, and I think that's a bad choice. Where they are going. I think it's they're
Look,
not going the right direction, in my opinion. Maybe they think that they are going the right direction and affiliate with the formulas and all this shit and try to mingle and jingle. Cool, but your shit don't work, man. Like it's for those people, they don't have time for that, and there's nothing more embarrassing than when you are on Friday night, you have a couple boys over in the cigar lounge, and you fucking turn on the theater, you turn on your Deezer, and all of a sudden it starts flashing white because it's rebooting. What the fuck is happening? How much did you
yeah.
pay for that?
Well, I mean,
So
our friend Lupus over on Discord was saying he tried to showcase some Atmos to his wife, and all of a sudden the
that's the
center
worst.
channel was no longer working. And it got to the point where his wife was like tired of him messing around to get it to work again, so she just left and didn't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like she didn't leave him, but she left the theater.
Like, yeah,
Like
fucking
this is too
you
much
deal with that.
nonsense.
Yeah, yeah. So
Look,
that's a thing that it's very impactful what they're doing, and quite honestly, the product looks beautiful. It's nice to touch, but you never do, because you have the only interface that you do touch is your half-assed app and the remote that sometimes has issues retaining connection, which never was a problem back in the BO4 days. It was IR. It fucking worked, rock solid. You could shoot bullets at it all day long.
to be very precise, right? I don't really care the looks of the app, the ads that are going to be in its own tab, or if you can buy XYZ. Fine, whatever. The precondition is that everything works like it's supposed to.
Yes.
Like you can't focus on all this new shit that you're interested in doing and leave a bunch of bugs and shit in there. Because I'm 100% convinced also how you're like how let's say I've seen it quite a lot on the Discord, how like the theater loses connection with Weiser speakers. I'm 100% convinced that's app based, not product based.
100%.
Because the software on the device, like the theater, hasn't changed or hasn't changed in a while. Because I have it with like my E8s, right? Like the transparency setting.
Yes.
It's fucked up in the new app. It works on an old app. So if I connect it to my iPad, like the
The
settings are
sliders
back
there.
again, and it works as if like that. If I connect it back to my phone, as long as I don't ever open the B&O app, it'll function like that. But as soon as I do anything on the B&O app, it's like on off. That's the only settings. You no longer have your the way you set it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like the same for the portals. Like, why are we missing things that we had for years? Like, this makes no goddamn sense. The only reason I can think of is the people that are coding it don't actually know how these products work or have ever actually used them, which is still a problem.
Yeah, but there's a lot of products they would have to go through in an educational process in a portfolio in order to understand all the interface, right? Because if the app has been around since 2016 or end of 2016, you have 8 years of piling up different,
Yeah, but
there's been
surely
so
they
many
can run
different
like an
products.
old build, right? And they can just literally see what options there are there. And they chose to
Fair.
omit a bunch. Like, you don't need these options anymore. Like, what? How? What?
Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird that where it is right now, especially with the app. I just don't.
I mean, it's if you're a legacy anything, let's say a beovision 11 Avant stage, which is still current, right? If you have E8s, if you even have portals, because they're essentially legacy, like you
Yep.
don't no longer have the slider for your transparency or ANC. It's either full on or full off. Like, and that as a setting makes no sense to me when it's gradual. Fortunately, on the portals, you can do it on the device. On the EH, you can't do it on the device. You needed the app for that. And they just chose to omit that.
Mm.
It's like, and again, if it's in different places and if it all looks a bit wonky or like, fine, whatever. But it needs to, like, you cannot lose functions you've had for years.
I completely agree.
And I sort of like, and this is different from the moment, right? Where it's like, I kind of understand with the moment where like licenses run out and that sort of thing. But this is just on the products themselves. This is your own shit. Like, how can you like omit that?
Hmm.
Like, TuneIn was a service from something else, and that it now works differently. I can get my head around that because the licensing and same with the Spotify thing. I can get my head around that. But when it's like, imagine if like they all of a sudden said like, yeah, you know the volume wheel on your moment that only works on the wood side because reasons.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you
you'd
can
be like,
dim your
what the
screen with the
hell?
other one. Yeah, exactly. That's so stupid. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's the state of affairs.
Like, this is not an idea. Do not do that to the moment.
Fuck. No, the app needs to be fixed, man. Like, guys, come on. It's not funny anymore. Let's just say that way.
And
It
by
is
fixed,
not
we don't
funny.
even know it needs to look clean and blah, blah, blah. No, just the bugs need to be gone.
Yes. For me, I don't know if I'm, like I said, flagged or lucky or something. Put a tinfoil hat on now, but it my app works even if there's issues with the store iPad that has issues. I usually just take over the account control, and I don't have that many problems on my device than I would have on the iPad. I don't know if it's because of the Android platform or whatnot, but I find it works. It works for me 100%. It crashes a lot, but yeah.
I'm on an old app, and weirdly, I don't like. I'm on the last version where it sort of all worked, but like all the interfaces were different, right?
Hmm.
And it still works. So I'm so hesitant to update anything because I still have to like reset my theater and redo everything.
Hmm.
It's like, and I'm just afraid I'll just reboot or factory reset the theater, and I won't be able to do it, which is not a fun feeling.
Well, I've had some times where
I
the
mean, you
worst
showed
part is,
last week that you apply settings and you can't save them.
yeah,
Like, what the hell is that, man?
fuck, I wonder if they actually fixed that bug.
Probably
I don't.
not.
Let's see.
Like, that's something for like 2, 3 months from now, right? Because who cares? We need these ads or like this different look first. Like the UX needs to be different before we go for the bugs. It's like, come on.
Let's see. Advanced.
I mean, if nothing else, like if this is the way, right? Like there needs to be a bigger step before it comes to even beta, because whatever is on the beta, it feels like alpha to me.
Yeah, no, it's not fixed.
And then if you especially cannot have essentially what is beta to be the regular iTunes store app.
No.
Like you can have a weird thing or like it locks up every so often. Most people can live with something like that maybe once a week, right? Where you just sort of go like, is it my phone? Is it my battery? Like what's going on? You swipe out of it, go again, and it's fine. But where it
Yeah.
just doesn't do anything, or you can't save anything, or if you copy something, it copies different settings than you copied.
My biggest problem also is that I don't think that they see how much that actually impedes into sales. Because if you come to a shop that they're asking now, let's say, what, 12,000 US dollars for the theater, right? It's gonna be soon.
It's about 10 US, so 12 Canadian, yeah.
And the sales guy opens the app and the fucking thing is offline, even though it's playing James Bond clip from a USB stick on a panel. And he can't, you go to settings and try to reboot it, app, this product cannot be reached. Check if it's on the network. What in the hell, man? And then you close the app and then it shows up and then you can finally use it. And then you go to the Deezer and all your fucking favorites are grayed out.
I still have my favorites because I'm on a old. Like you can't even set how Deezer shows up anymore. Like that's taken out. Like, and that's not a Deezer thing either, because you can do that on Deezer. Like, why do I want all this like recommended listening shit? No, I want my favorites to be top, and you used to be able to do that.
I turned off everything that they force in the front page now.
Yeah.
The recommended artists, recommended playlists, whatever the fuck else, and then genres and mixes for you. No, I don't. I want my favorites back where they were, and I want to be able to sort them alphabetically by time added, and I want to keep it to be sorted and by time added, which is what how it is in the Deezer. So then the most recent ones are at the top and the oldest ones are at the bottom, which makes complete sense. Now it's just like some random ass no, it's from the oldest to the newest. So I have about 300 songs in the favorites. So for me, I wear the fucking screen off before I get down to the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
It's nonsense, man.
I mean, but again, you could just see old build, new build, and they go like, oh, these like check marks that you could put on what you want to see. Yeah, I don't care, whatever. And somehow that makes it through beta into the regular app. And that's where I'm going like this.
I just don't understand the approval process of all these changes. I do not understand. I think they just shit it out there, and whatever the echoes come from the cave, that's what they address and try to fix. I do not understand that.
I mean, I must say, like, to not be totally, the new UX looks quite nice. Like, so it's not that. Like, in the old, like, 4.8, 4 series apps, it was a bit of a, like, the theater looked way different than the A5, and then your core looked way different than that, and it was a bit of a mess that way. The new UX is kind of streamlined, and everything looks sort of the same.
Yes.
But I don't understand why it got designed that way, or it was only possible that way if you dropped a bunch of features from a bunch of things.
Because that's what I'm thinking, like how they like some of these sliders, like, for the noise cancellation and transparency. I see, there are 3 dots. Why can you not just have that yellow slider with your hand or finger go up and, it ticks on when it's on the neutral position of each? I don't understand why that's not.
Or hold it down and it pops up, right? Like something like that. But it just means that if that is the thing where they want to go to, where you later hold it, like it just isn't done. So why release it? That's what I really don't understand. It's the actual app you can get in the App Store is, to me, a beta app. Especially compared to how it was like 9 months ago. 9 months ago, the app was better. It looked more of a mess, but it worked better.
It was more solid. Yeah.
Now it looks better, but it works like shit.
Roles have changed.
It's,
No, it's headache inducing, and for me being in the field to deal with it every day, man, it's very, very frustrating. And it's the same thing, like I understand the client base, right? And I sit on the Discord now every day because it's fun. There's a lot of it's a great information pool. And yes, the people on the Discord, I guess, would be a little bit more nerdy than our average client that just turns on their fucking TV and that's it. But even those people have sometimes issue where it doesn't work, and they don't even use the app, right? The
especially
biggest
if
one
you have
was
any Mozart paired speaker, you're gonna use the app at some point because
to
they're
me the
gonna
biggest
lose each other.
the biggest threat for me is I don't still understand the behavior of the software updates. Well, I guess now they kind of work. We'll see on the next software updates because the only pair that I have hardwired in the shop are stereo paired BeoLab 8s. The other ones are on Wi-Fi to one another or wirelessly paired, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the wireless ones, if the one updates, the other one never connects back to it because it's different versions, incompatible. Fuck off. But I'm very curious because I'm very curious about the guy that we did last week on Thursday with the bronze 28s, which pair them wirelessly and then you hardwire the connections. So we'll see how that behaves. But it's very, very bizarre how they want you to make the Mozart platform work. And some of the stuff, like it's to me it's not logical that you have to stereo pair the speakers. If you let's say if you have a BeoConnect core and you put a pair of Lab 8s into them or 28s, whatever. I think that you should have the ability to hide the other speakers in the app, so they don't show up on the, let's say, a homepage as they should just be grayed out, or just be in another menu somewhere where they don't appear, so people don't get fucking confused. Like the guy has a BeoConnect core with two BeoLab 28s in it, right? And then he's got another pair of BeoLab 28s in bronze color, which is the stereo paired. And at the end of the day, they function the same, other than the limitation when you're using them in a stereo pairing and you try to stream into them and the core is the TV's turned on and ARC is on, the power link is engaged, you're fucked. So you can't. So why not just take that out completely of the equation and have only the ability to visit those speakers if there is a problem via software or a software update that you need to push to them, and just have those, like I said, hidden in the app that are used, but they're not. Like if you go to the settings in the main page and then you go to products when you can edit the products,
Mm.
if the BLF 28s are stereo paired, the secondary shows up grayed out.
Yeah.
It should be the same. There should be a same ability to do that. So you gray out the ones that you don't need. And in my opinion, there is way more control over the sound from the core connect than there is natively on the speakers themselves.
Yes.
And the interface is identical because when you want to stream music, the fucking TV cuts off anyways, and the speakers are still in the power link mode, but now the core streams. So it's an absolutely redundant and overly confusing functionality that is introduced on the systems that are, at this point, I would call it a semi-convoluted.
Yes. Like a bright side in the last year has especially been the core. Like it's a great product. I love it. It works great.
It
It just
sounds
works.
insane, and
But
it
it also
sounds great.
just works, right? Like it's there's no, there's like in the initial like pre-launch bits there were some quirks but nothing major, and it just essentially works. And it's quite simple in the sense that it makes logical sense in how the gradation is of products that work.
There is only one asterisk on it. Your I guess experience with the core was positive because you used dumb speakers.
Yes.
I've had a problem where I had them hooked up to BeoLab 28s, and I had a problem also with them being hooked up to the BeoLab 8s, where the app will not set the right power link speaker channel. It won't save it. So you can have the right channel. I could only do it through the product health center. I would have to go into the speaker and set it to the power link and the right channel, and then the core would work.
Weird.
And the same, yeah, the 28s I've had the issue with. I rebooted it a few times and then it took, so I don't know if it fixed or not. But that was one thing that I found that was an issue where, you can have the speaker set to whatever, as far as you have them correctly set left and right on the 18s. It's a mechanical switch, so you can't really, like, you don't have an option of not having an option. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's the only hiccup that I've had with the 28s and 8s or the Mozart platform speaker base with the BeoConnect core. They sound identical. There's no real difference between core and the Lab 8s or 28s on their own. But I just think that stereo pairing while the speakers are in a PowerLink mode or connected to any platform such as a theater or anything, I honestly think that it's completely redundant and unnecessary.
The whole Mozart platform makes absolute sense to me on BeoSound level products. And I just don't get it on BeoLabs. Like everything is essentially a BeoSound now. Like even the BeoLabs are essentially BeoSound level products. And
Yeah.
like we never needed that many internal streamers, sources, and that sort of thing on BeoLabs because you sell BeoLabs with a TV or another source anyway.
But you know what, though? I kind of disagree with you. I like the Mozart capability in the speakers for just one simple reason. If people just buy stereo pair of speakers, let's say for the dining room or something, there's really no muss and fuss. You just need to plug them into the power. You don't need to hide the core somewhere in a transmitter and all this shit. So I understand that, but like just for the sake of once that speaker goes into power link mode, it should not be present in the app as a sound system. That is it's a logical request because it's confusing the shit out of the clients. And I've had where we had a guy, Kareem, sold a pair of Lab 8s to not old, but to the Harmony 83, I believe the guy has.
Mm-hmm.
So you connect them WiSA, works no problem. That's another positive because if you do WiSA, you just reset the wireless power link mode on the speakers. They pair, and they're self-allocated channel sides given from the television. But I pair them together just because that's just what it is. So you pair them together, and then the guy got so confused because like, well, I want to turn up the speakers from the back, but at the TV's playing, I can't use them, and then I had to reset the whole system with him, repair the speakers because they went missing from the wireless power link. I think that they must have reset them or some shit. So I really don't think that feature should be even available in there completely. Like if those speakers are in a power link mode, they should disappear from the main page menu and be only accessible via settings in the products to do software update. That's it. And then you have everything that you need is in the app. It's not convoluted. You're not switching from the BeoConnect core or Harmony to the speakers, or from the speakers because, oh man, I got to turn off the TV if I just want to use the BeoLab 8. So I just have the fucking TV on and switch the speaker group. Let's see. And that's it. You don't need anything more. That's the only gripe that I have with the Mozart stereo pairing nonsense for the involved speakers. Because it's in the PL mode, that just makes no sense. And if you bought the theater, why would you like even listen to the speakers on their own to begin with? And even if you do listen to them on their own, I would just have a music listening position that just has stereo, and that's it. And with the 8s, I would probably add the left and right channel from the theater as a subwoofers, just to help them out to rich up the sound. Why would I just go to the speaker and put a fingerprint on, which I fucking hate that the glass, like it's you can never keep it clean. And I'm one of those that I would like put a glove on before I would touch the button, right? So I don't have a fingerprint on it, because then you can't wipe it, because now you're switching tracks, pausing, playing, skipping shit, and it's because there is no cleaning mode enabled, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And that kind of gets me a little bit worked up on it. But they should definitely consider putting the speakers out away from the home screen menu when they are in PowerLink mode, when they're just supposed to be dumb speakers. Let them be dumb speakers.
Yeah.
So
I'm not entirely sure what you're asking, Biz. I have a Harmony. Can you pass the app and just use the B&O TV app? Yeah, for the Harmony, everything's on the TV.
but not with the theater. Theater, you're bound into the into the app, hell and high water, man. There's no change in that. So
So the TV app on the theater is the same like the stage, right? It just adjusts the firmware in the LG panel for the Beo Remote 1. But then
that's
your
it.
menu is always on your phone. Like you
Yes.
cannot go to like a menu setting on the screen itself.
Well, that's the only screen setting menu. Like there's no B&O control. It's not like on the Harmony where
Yeah.
you have sound and sources and BeoLink. That doesn't exist on the stage or theater or whatever. Like those menus are gone, which I don't understand
Willie,
why
do
they
you
can't.
wear gloves while eating Cheetos?
I don't eat Cheetos. I don't eat Cheetos because of that. The fucking orange everything, bro. No. And they kind of, the way they come in, that it's the same color they come out. So no, I pass.
But how will you fit in if you move to Florida? You need to eat like Cheetos for a week and just smear it in your face. Otherwise, everybody's going to be like, why are you so white? Like, what's going on? You're foreign.
I'll wear a T-shirt with the Canadian flag on it. I'm new here. I'm new here, and I'm sure they're gonna clue in because I'll be sweating bullets. So
You'll be a wet leaf.
So Harry's asking, what's the problem with the True Image? I think it's amazing. It's much different to Dolby. I think it must go to a dealer and listen to both together. I think
True Image is amazing on BeoVision Harmony, BeoVision Eclipse, 11, 12, Avant, System 4.3. It's just weird on the theater. And it's
I think it's weird because of the
specifically
Dolby
with
Atmos.
Atmos related and non-Atmos related sources.
It does good on non-Atmos related sources, but I think as soon as you introduce the high channels, the thing just kind of collapses on itself a little bit. I don't know why.
For some reason, the voices go to the high channels.
Yeah, there is a whole bunch of weirdness that happens with it, and I think that when the True Image was at its prime, I think that the entire Dolby Atmos thing was basically what that was capable of doing. Where now, when those channels are actually present in the signal allocation, it might have an issue with it. I don't know. Maybe it also could be a licensing issue in a way or two that they only are allowed to utilize so much. I don't know, but I just can't think of anything else.
I don't mean to be like blackpilling or like doom and gloom. What I think happened, and I say this with some educated guess, is that they pushed the theater for sale sooner than it was actually fully technically ready on the back end.
But isn't that the story of B&O?
Sure, but there were specific things that weren't ready, including the true Atmos and true image things, right? Because of the 2.0 allocation, that sort of thing. Then other shit went wrong with it that got priority. So they never really got round to doing it how it was done in other BeoVisions and doing it properly.
Mm-hmm.
Because this also took longer, because for the first time in like a decade, there is a new codec that requires quite a bit of things, and it also changes completely. It's no longer just channel allocation, it's like virtual
spatial allocation.
Yeah. So it's a completely new way of doing that, and I just think they needed probably 3 to 6 months more on doing that, and then other stuff happened. Like, and you can already see that in your documentation, right, with the Atmos and non-Atmos. There's already a V2 of that within like a month or something, and it's totally different than the V1.
No, they omitted a whole bunch of stuff. That's what I have an issue with.
Like,
why?
but there must be a reason for that, right?
Yes.
Like either something changed in an update, or they decided actually this is like like they're also fine tweaking it on their end still.
I'm sure, and I think that maybe they had come up with the sweet spot combination between both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
That was the version 2, right? In addition to the extra page, which talks about direct modes in a 2-channel stereo setup and what you do.
Yeah, I mean,
So
personally, I think I'm slightly in a fortunate position where like all the voices go to a higher channel. That it hasn't affected me so much because I have like full on Beolab 17s up there, and I'm not dependent on the tiny ass drivers that do the upfiring because those are off for me.
That's good, but you know what I find even with the microphone tune, I find that those drivers or those channels come 4 dBs lower than everything else when you do the noise test.
Mm-hmm.
They are 4 dBs lower than every other speaker channel in the setup. You know, when I go from, you know, when I redid it, I did it at 65 dBs, right? Put the volume to 65 on the center, started with all the speakers, and the left and right upfiring are 4 dBs lower by the microphone tune. I don't know what is that for a purpose. I've leveled them all off, and to me, it sounds much better. I think that
could be where they think that it's more for spatial effects than like being blasted. It's sort of like
it brings it up just a little.
Yeah, it's sort of like a graceful expansion than like a forcing of expansion, maybe. I don't know, right? I mean, it's almost like adding a pinch of salt or just going dropping.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's one of those things.
Yeah, Cubbies, I don't have H95s. These are portals, and I don't really ever connect anything to anything. I have a pair of EXs that are connected to the TV, and that's just a pair for the TV. That's it. And I have a pair of EXs in the bag that are connected to the phone if I ever decide to listen to music outside walking. And the portals stay here on that little table when the podcast isn't on. Or sometimes if I have a cigar with Nathan in Calgary, so I put them on over a 2-3 hour phone call like yesterday, but that's about it. I don't have any issues with my portals whatsoever. I really like them. They're a little bit more underutilized because I don't really, use the Dolby Atmos license because I don't really have time nor care to play video games anymore.
Same.
But
I use them on Sunday.
Yeah, but I am still toying with the idea of buying a PS5 Pro in October when it comes out, the new one. Mm-hmm. I'll wait for I'll probably get it after Christmas because I'm not going to go and get shot in fucking the store for it because people are going to go crazy and I don't care. And I'll buy it and maybe I'll play some games and see how, but for me, it's not something that I'm that I hinge on as far as, but that's the only feels bad about the portals, that they're underutilized for what I use them for. But I'm not going to be ending up with the new ones, that's for sure. The H100s, I don't think that I would care for.
Really quick before we call it, I doubt we'll get a V2 that is called Harmony. We either get a full-on upgrade with an internal board, or we're going to have something that is maybe similar but carries a different name.
I think so too.
Because it's just going to be confusing. Because you're going to, like, people, I know for a fucking fact, people are going to walk in, they're going to go to the dealers, like, the Harmony does Atmos now, right? And the dealer will go, yes. It's like, can I have your demo model then? And it's like, where's the Atmos?
No, you can't have our demo model. That one doesn't have it, sorry.
Yeah, and that's just... Yeah. You're going to have to retest it through the FCC for, like, Europe, or was it the ECC in Europe and the FCC here, to get it on the market anyway, because you have different standards. You're going to have Bluetooth 5 point whatever the fuck, and they're going to have to retest it regardless if it's within specs, and you're going to have to pay for all that, so you might as well make it a new product.
Like, I just hope they put a lot more power links into it.
BLAB 5s, officially, there is no difference between any of them. The board changes were minor enough that there is officially no Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3. That is totally a made-up thing by the B&O owners community. Because officially, there is no difference.
Mm.
There's just different build
dates. If you slap in Mozart into the Harmony, then I don't think you're gonna gain much out of the standalone system as it is, because you can't fit extra speakers that are side and front are top firing, because the design of it does not allow for that.
But you can stereo pair it to another Harmony.
Oh, for the love of Christ! Enough said.
Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you have a good week. See you next week.
Suffer with us next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye.